Did you know the Statue of Liberty wasn't originally intended for New York? Or that her creator once dreamed of building her in Egypt? Oh, and here's a fun twist. She wasn't even fully funded when she arrived in America. The Statue of Liberty's story is full of surprises, and today we're uncovering them all. By the end of this video, you'll know the real history behind this iconic monument and why she still holds such powerful meaning today. Let's dive in. This is VoyageVault presenting the history behind the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty's story begins far from the shores of New York City. It all started in France in 1865 during a dinner party hosted by Édouard de Laboulaye, a French historian, abolitionist, and passionate supporter of American democracy. Laboulaye was inspired by the United States' victory in the Civil War and the abolition of slavery. To him, America represented the ideals of freedom and democracy, values he believed France should also aspire to. During that dinner, Laboulaye proposed a bold idea. What if France created a gift for the United States to celebrate their shared commitment to liberty? This wasn't just about honoring America. It was also a subtle nudge to the French government, which was struggling to uphold democratic ideals at the time. Laboulaye wanted this monument to stand as a symbol of hope and inspiration for both nations. Enter Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi, a young sculptor with grand ambitions. Bartholdi was captivated by Laboulaye's vision and immediately began sketching concepts for the statue. But here's a fascinating twist. Bartholdi didn't initially design Lady Liberty for America. His first big project idea? A colossal statue meant to stand at the entrance of the Suez Canal in Egypt. Bartholdi envisioned a towering figure resembling an ancient Egyptian goddess holding a lantern to guide ships. Unfortunately, Egypt's government declined the project due to its enormous cost. But Bartholdi wasn't ready to give up. He took his designs, adapted them, and began shaping what would eventually become the Statue of Liberty. By the time Bartholdi and Laboulaye officially proposed the project to the United States in the 1870s, the idea had evolved into something even bigger, a monument to celebrate the 100th anniversary of American independence. Creating a statue as massive as Lady Liberty was no small feat. Bartholdi designed her to stand over 150 feet tall, with her torch reaching 305 feet into the sky once placed on her pedestal. But how do you even begin building something that large in the 19th century? Bartholdi started by constructing a small-scale model of the statue, just 4 feet tall, to refine the details of her design. From there, he gradually scaled up, creating larger and larger versions until he had a full-sized plaster model. This model was used to craft the copper sheets that would form the statue's outer layer. But the real genius of the Statue of Liberty lies inside. To support the weight of the copper skin, Bartholdi collaborated with Gustave Eiffel, the same engineer who would later design the Eiffel Tower. Eiffel created an intricate iron framework that could withstand the elements while allowing the statue to expand and contract with changes in temperature. It was an engineering marvel for its time, combining artistry with cutting-edge technology. Here's a fun fact. Lady Liberty's face is said to be modeled after Bartholdi's mother, Charlotte. While that might seem sweet, imagine having your mother's face immortalized on a 150-foot statue for the world to see. But as impressive as the design and construction were, there was one major hurdle: funding. Building the statue and its pedestal was going to cost a fortune. And that's when the real challenges began. Money. It's the one thing every ambitious project needs, and it was in short supply for the Statue of Liberty. France agreed to cover the cost of building the statue itself, but the United States was responsible for funding the pedestal it would stand on. At first, fundraising efforts in America fell flat. Wealthy donors weren't particularly interested, and many ordinary citizens didn't see why they should pitch in. Why spend money on a statue when there were so many other pressing concerns? This is where Joseph Pulitzer, the publisher of the New York World newspaper, stepped in. Pulitzer launched a nationwide campaign to raise money for the pedestal, using his newspaper to appeal directly to the American public. He promised to publish the name of every single donor, no matter how small their contribution. And it worked. Donations poured in from across the country, many of them just a few cents at a time. School children, immigrants, and working-class families all chipped in, proving that the Statue of Liberty wasn't just a gift from France, it was a symbol of the people, funded by the people. By the time the pedestal was completed, over 120,000 Americans had contributed to the campaign. It was a true testament to the power of collective effort. By 1884, the Statue of Liberty was finally completed in France. But there was one big question. How do you move something so massive across the Atlantic? The statue stood over 150 feet tall and weighed more than 225 tons. Shipping it in one piece was out of the question. So instead, the statue was carefully taken apart. Every single piece, 350 of them, was disassembled, labeled, and packed into 214 wooden crates. These crates contained everything: her copper skin, her iron framework, and even her torch. Think about it. Lady Liberty's arm and face were packed away like the oversized puzzle pieces. The crates were loaded onto a French ship called the Isère, which set sail for America in May 1885. But the journey wasn't smooth sailing. The Atlantic Ocean wasn't exactly kind to the Isère. The ship faced rough waters and storms, and at one point, there were fears that some of the crates might be damaged, or worse, lost at sea. Can you imagine if Lady Liberty's nose had sunk to the bottom of the Atlantic? Thankfully, after weeks of tense travel, the Isère arrived safely in New York Harbor on June 17, 1885. The arrival was a moment of celebration. Crowds gathered in the harbor to watch as the crates were unloaded, knowing that what they were witnessing wasn't just the arrival of a statue, it was the arrival of a symbol for the ages. But the work wasn't finished. Reassembling the statue was an enormous task. Workers spent 4 months carefully reconstructing her on Bedloe's Island, piece by piece. The iron framework was erected first, followed by the copper sheets that formed her outer skin. It was a delicate process, and every piece had to fit perfectly. Finally, on October 28, 1886, the Statue of Liberty was officially unveiled. The ceremony was attended by thousands of people, including President Grover Cleveland, who gave a speech declaring, "We will not forget that Liberty has made her home here." As fireworks lit up the sky that evening, Lady Liberty stood tall in New York Harbor, a gift 21 years in the making. By now, you probably know that the Statue of Liberty represents freedom. But what you might not realize is just how much thought went into every detail of her design. Bartholdi didn't just want to create a beautiful statue, he wanted to tell a story. The first thing you notice is her torch. Held high above her head, it represents enlightenment, the idea that freedom lights the way to a brighter future. The torch serves as a literal and figurative beacon, visible to ships arriving in New York Harbor and symbolizing hope for those seeking a better life. But look closer, and you'll find even more hidden meaning. At her feet, you can see broken chains and shackles, a powerful symbol of liberation from oppression and tyranny. This detail was especially significant in the years following the Civil War, when slavery had recently been abolished in the United States. Then there's her crown, one of the most iconic parts of the statue. The 7 spikes on her crown aren't just decorative. They represent the 7 continents and 7 seas, emphasizing that liberty is a universal concept meant for everyone, everywhere. Even the tablet she holds is packed with meaning. Inscribed on it is the date July 4, 1776, marking the signing of the Declaration of Independence. By holding this, Lady Liberty ties herself directly to the founding ideals of the United States. And let's not forget her stance. She isn't just standing still, she's striding forward, as if leading the way to progress. Bartholdi intentionally designed her this way to symbolize action, movement, and a constant push toward a better future. But perhaps the most powerful part of the statue isn't visible at all. It's what she represents. Over the years, Lady Liberty has become a symbol of immigration and hope. Imagine being an immigrant arriving in New York Harbor in the late 19th or early 20th century after a long and difficult journey. The very first thing you'd see would be the Statue of Liberty, her torch held high, welcoming you to a new life. To those immigrants, she wasn't just a statue, she was a promise. A promise that in America they could find freedom, opportunity, and a chance to start over. That's what makes Lady Liberty so much more than a monument. She's a living, breathing symbol of the ideals we all strive for. Fast forward to today, and the Statue of Liberty remains one of the most beloved landmarks in the world. Millions of people visit her every year, taking ferries to Liberty Island to marvel at her up close. She's been featured in countless movies, TV shows, and books, cementing her place in pop culture as a global icon. But Lady Liberty isn't just a tourist attraction. She's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognized for her cultural and historical importance. And she's more relevant now than ever before. Over the years, the Statue of Liberty has taken on new meanings for each generation. During the Civil Rights Movement, she stood as a symbol of equality and justice. In the aftermath of 9/11, she became a symbol of resilience and unity. And today, she continues to inspire people around the world as a reminder of the values of freedom and democracy. That's the incredible thing about Lady Liberty. She's timeless. While her copper skin has weathered and turned green over the years, her message has never faded. She's a beacon of hope, standing tall through the challenges of history and reminding us that liberty is something worth fighting for. And let's not forget the people who made her possible. From Bartholdi and Eiffel to the thousands of ordinary citizens who donated their pennies to fund her pedestal, the Statue of Liberty is a testament to what humanity can achieve when we come together. So the next time you see Lady Liberty, whether in person or in a photograph, take a moment to think about what she represents. She's not just a statue. She's a storyteller, a symbol, and a piece of history that belongs to all of us. And there you have it, the incredible story of the Statue of Liberty. From her French origins to her role as a beacon of hope for immigrants, Lady Liberty is more than just a monument. She's a symbol of freedom, resilience, and the power of unity. Curious to learn more? Click below to check out our video on the history of the Great Pyramids of Giza, the ancient wonder that has captivated the world for millennia. For now, this is VoyageVault, signing off.